The false card you have for your past is the Page of Pentacles. This is a beautiful, beautiful card. I love this card. You know, I always think of newness, springtime, things like that when I see this card. And to me, when I look at this man on this card, or this teenager, or whoever this is, this child, it actually looks like a child to me, and it looks as if they're playing in a park with bubbles, and he's holding onto this coin right on the tips of his fingers, and it's as if it's about to float away like a bubble. I love this so much. So, you know, what I'm seeing here is I think you were ambitious about something, but I think you're also a little bit naive, a little bit childlike about this in some ways as well. You're enjoying whatever this was. So, you know, I'm seeing you being willing to just go wherever this takes you. If it works, it works. If it ends up going in a completely different direction, then you'll go there. You know, just like a bubble, it kind of floats around, and you know, you don't know where it's going to land or where it's going to go. But I think you're happy to watch this kind of float around and see what happened, what would happen with this. And obviously this says creativity to me. So I think this was something very creative. Might have been painting, might have been music, might have been writing, might have been acting, dance, anything. And you're a very creative person. Pisces are very creative. So, you know, if this resonates, I think this is the perfect way for this thing that you're working on to go right now, whatever this creative thing is. I don't know if you've ever painted, but when you paint, the painting kind of shows you where to go. It's almost as if it's showing you what you need to do. And that's what's so beautiful about creativity. It's that you're making it, you're producing it, but you're also doing what it's telling you to do. That's how I find it anyway. So I don't know if that's going to make any sense to you, but with this thing that you were doing, I think this is the stage that you're at. You're at the early stages. You're just letting it go wherever it was. You know, there's a time for the business side of this, and that'll probably come later on. But if you're still in the early stages of this, don't let anything else spoil this time. Don't kind of think about all the business and what you have to do later on. You know, if this is art, music, writing, or whatever, you know, it might also be a good idea to keep this hidden for now as well. Because creative endeavors, they're a little bit like children. You know, they're just growing, and they need to be left to do that, just to grow, just to be themselves. They're not here to be criticized or questioned or anything like that. So just let this thing happen and try and hide it from people's eyes and people's criticisms for a while. You know, just put it aside, put it away, maybe cover it up or something. That's what I'm seeing. So the next card you have your past is, yeah, the Devil. Ugly old devil. So yeah, this is the complete opposite of the Page of Pentacles. Okay, so when I look at this, I'm getting a really sort of claustrophobic feeling around this. It's a feeling of not being able to speak, not being able to tell people what's happening. It's like that. So there's someone, I don't know whether this is a love connection, but it's someone who you thought might be a love connection at one time, or maybe maybe you're still in communication. Actually, I think you are. I think you're in communication with them, but it might be limited communication. That's what I'm seeing. That's why I was getting a bit confused. So, you know, they might do things like disappear for a while, and their behavior might be a bit erratic. There's something they're holding on to. There's something they're not telling you. That's what I'm seeing, or they weren't at this time. You know, sometimes this card can be about addiction problems, but I'm not seeing this being about them directly. It might be someone they're with, someone they're around that has this problem, because I'm seeing someone helping another person. So it might be a relative that this person's helping. It's definitely someone they're close to. And I'm getting the feeling of having to help, wanting to help, but also feeling a little bit trapped, a bit chained to having to help, having to be around whoever this is. It's a bit like these poor people are chained to this devil. I actually think they might be afraid to leave this person even for a short time in case something happens to them. It might be that serious. yeah, I'm seeing very, very clear things in this reading so far. I can tell this is going to be very specific, so just a warning. That's what I'm feeling. So, yeah, the last card you have for your past is the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, okay, so this is what I'm seeing. Whoever this is, they're not telling you that they're in this situation. I don't know whether they feel ashamed, it might be that, or they probably feel loyal to this person. You know, there's a family in this card, so that confirms that this is probably a family member around them, and that would be why they want to be loyal to them if they're a family member, so that makes sense there. So yeah, I keep on seeing not being able to talk, not being able to tell you this, and this fear's all coming from them. You know, you're an understanding person. I don't think you'd condemn them or criticize them or anything like that. I don't think you would reject them either, because, you know, you care about them. I can see that. So if you're wondering why someone around you is a little bit non-communicative and erratic and distant, this is what I'm seeing, I think. You know, they're dealing with something quite stressful, very stressful actually. And, you know, it looks as if they're trying to hide this or keep this quiet. So, you know, and when I say addiction, it doesn't necessarily have to be drug addiction. You know, it can also be, you know, it can be so many different things. You know, I don't want to mention them all. There are so many things it could be. So, yeah, I'll just go on with the next card. So, yeah, the first card you have for your present is the Lovers. So I think this is definitely some kind of love connection, this person. This card can be about choices as well. And I think because they're so erratic in their communication, or their lack of communication, I think you might have thought a few times about giving up on this person. You know, but I think something inside you was encouraging you to stay, and I think it always has encouraged you to stay. So you've kind of stuck around. You know, they probably will open up to you at some time and talk to you about this. You know, this woman's standing in front of the tree of knowledge, so you will find out something at some time. And I think even though you'll probably have a few choices to make, because you do care about them and you'll probably be willing to support them and help them. But, you know, you'll definitely have to think about yourself as well. You know, any kind of addiction, if that's what this is, or anything around addiction, you know, it can easily swallow up anyone who's around the addicted person. You know, it can be a little bit like a fire with a wind behind it. It just burns everything around it. So, if this is resonating, I think this will be a choice, one of the choices that you'll have to make. You know, when this thing comes out, when this information comes out, you know, you'll have to think about how far you want to get into this, where the line is in wanting to help, and you know, whether you want to support them and how far you want to support them without being consumed by it yourself. So there's a lot here. There's a lot to think about, a lot that you're going to have to put, you know, into your head and really, really meditate on this, or really think very carefully about this. So the next card you have your present is the Eight of Cups. Yeah, again, this can be about addiction as well. Sometimes, you know, walking away from addiction, drinking, other things. Yeah, this is a really heavy reading. I know this is really heavy, and I know it's only going to resonate with a few people, but with these readings, I just say what I see and I leave it as it is, especially when, you know, serious subjects come up like this one, because, you know, obviously someone needs to hear these messages. And yeah, I know this has turned into a really heavy, really serious reading, but a very dark reading actually. But what's interesting is I can see the contrast between your life and their life. You know, you're represented by Pentacles, stability in a lot of these cards, but they're represented by the opposite of stability a lot of the time. So they're a very mixed up, very unstable person. And if they are dealing with someone who's addicted, that's why that is. If not, they're dealing with something very, very kind of difficult and very messy. That's what I'm seeing. So, but you know, you definitely represent stability to them. I can see that everywhere. So whatever's going on, you represent that for them. So the last card you have your presence, the Emperor. So yes, stability again. Here we are. This is the stable man, the person who kind of stays on one track. He's very serious. He sees everything through to the end. So yeah, you're going to have to be the stable one here if this is going to work. I am seeing a possibility of this turning into a more stable relationship, but if this is what you want, you're going to have to be really careful to make sure you don't turn into everyone's rock or everyone's boss, like this emperor. You do care about them, I keep on seeing this, but every adult is responsible for themselves. You can't be responsible for them or anyone else. I just feel that I have to tell you that, because there is a risk of you falling into a boss role or a parent role, and if it does become a stable relationship, there needs to be equality here. So I know all these questions are, for the future, all these choices are for the future. And I know, again, this is really specific. I do apologize for that, but this is what's coming in. And I apologize for the darkness, but I can't help that. This dark, heavy reading I mean. So yeah, the first card you have, your future, is the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah. This is a reminder, nurture yourself as well. Take care of yourself, especially if you are dealing with this great, big, heavy, difficult scenario. But whether it resonates or not, or whatever's going on, there's a real need for you to do that. So this is a reminder for you to take care of yourself. And whatever you do, whatever you decide to do, never stop working on this thing that I was seeing in the Page of Pentacles. Look at how peaceful and serene this Queen is. This is going to be what brings you, back to yourself, the real you, no matter what happens. And if you stay with this and direct your strength into this thing you're working on, this creative thing, there's definitely an opportunity there again for something to come out of this financially for you as well, because this is the Queen of Pentacles. So you might have to see this with new eyes, though, if this is going to progress into something financial for you, because I'm seeing this eventually taking on another identity or another use, if that makes sense. So it might be that, for example, if this is music, you might have your mind set on this becoming a traditional album or something like that. And the outcome of that might be that it becomes something more commercial. It might be used for something else. It might be used for a game or something, whatever, something completely different. So you're going to have to open your mind to these different possibilities. At the beginning of this process, your mind was open to whatever was going to happen, wherever this was going to take you. That's what I'm seeing in the Page of Pentacles. And I think you'll have to have the same kind of mindset when it comes to the business side of this as well. The Queen of Pentacles is organized, she's a creator of abundance, and she has a really, really flexible mind as well. So I think that's how you're going to have to have a flexible mind when it comes to the business side of things, how you're going to create money or whatever out of this. And I think you absolutely can. So yeah, the next card you have, your future, is the Page of Wands. Okay, so this message is coming in. This is this important communication that's coming in for you. And I think this is about this person coming in and telling you, finally talking to you about this very serious situation that I'm seeing all over this reading. And I'm getting a very strong feeling that they're probably going to want to talk to you face to face. It's going to be a face-to-face conversation. Now, again, I was seeing addiction all over this, and I'm still seeing that. I'm not swaying away from that. I'm seeing this and I'm feeling this everywhere. But again, I'm not seeing that they're the one with the problem. It's probably someone around them. And again, I just want to stress that this addictive behavior can come in a lot of different forms. It doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol. It can be a lot of different things. And, that said, I know this is a really specific reading, but I think this message that I'm seeing here, this is the message that they're going to bring to you. This is when they're going to start to open up. This is when they're going to have to, or not have to, but this is when they're going to want to tell you this information. this important information. So before this message comes along, they're erratic in their communication. It's slow, it's kind of on and off, they're all over the place. After this happens, after they open up, after they have this conversation with you, there's going to be a lot more communication, a lot more steady communication, because they'll have opened it up, and they'll be able to start to talk with you about this properly. A whole side of themselves is going to open up to you. I'm sorry I was stumbling through that. The other thing is, okay, I know this probably sounds a little bit mundane compared to the rest of this really heavy reading, but try not to overspend at this time. I think there might be an extra expense that comes in that you weren't planning on. It's not some great big huge terrible thing that's like a lot of money, but just make sure you have enough set aside, so maybe leave any trivial purchases for another time, for a time in the future. So there's that, so just keep that in mind. So the last card you have, your future, is Justice. Yes, again, see, I keep on seeing this. I can't help it. I keep on seeing the same situation all the way through this. So it is meant for someone. Look at the curtain that's behind this woman. There's a sun behind it. It's yellow. So it's going to be illuminated. This thing is going to be revealed to you. Someone's going to, or this person is going to open up and talk to you about this thing. I'm picking up on a lot of fear here as well. So they're going to be very, very nervous about telling you this. Very, very, very nervous. But it is going to be a relief for them, I think. So whatever it is they're going to tell you, whether it's about this addiction or this thing or this problem, it is going to be a relief for them to open this up, or open up to you about this, I should say. So yeah, because these two pillars on this card, there are two pillars, one on each side. They symbolize duality, two different sides. So they had you in one section of their life, way over in one side, and the other stress of everything else that was going on was way over in the other side. But now with this conversation, with this opening up, these two pillars, these two sides are going to come together, and there's a big relief around that for them. Okay, so yeah, this is a very dark reading. This is a very specific reading, has a lot of dark things, addiction, problems, all of that kind of thing. I'm actually really nervous about uploading this, but I have to, I'm going to. So Pisces, I won't say I hope this resonated. I'm just going to leave it with you. Whatever happens, happens. But as you know, general readings can't always resonate with everyone. But if you liked this reading, I doubt it, but if you did, please like or subscribe or leave a comment if you'd like to. And thank you so much for watching.